Guys, welcome to Better Bachelor. My name is Joker, and tonight we're going to talk about a bunch of different articles that I've got. I'm going to be breaking this up into segments, so those of you on locals can watch this all in one long episode. If you'd like it broken into smaller episodes, I'm going to break it up and put it over on YouTube. And if you're looking to save on your data, don't forget, if you're a supporter, you can listen to the podcast. I put this up in podcast form, and it comes out to be like 35 or 45 megabytes, so that will save on your data if you only listen to me while you're doing other things, and that way you can listen to it in the browser. First article we're going to talk about tonight is Gen Z ditching hookup culture for long-term relationships. The first article comes from Evie magazine, and I like Evie magazine because they do kind of talk about a little bit more conservative topics. Hey, women, save yourselves. Sleeping around isn't all that. And there are better things you can do with yourself. But I think they got this one wrong. So let's jump right into it. From Evie magazine as of August 25th. Is there hope why Gen Z is ditching hookup culture for commitment? First of all, I'll say I think that's wrong, and I've got an article that'll express why. They say whether it's another HBO hit series, a friend telling their adventurous explorations in the land of sex, or one more song on the radio that sings the same old message, one night stand, meaningless sex, it seems the idea of hookup culture is all too popular. Yes, it is. We talk about it a lot. Through our culture and media, though our culture and media have made hookup culture increasingly popular, not everyone is on board with a proposal that sex is empty and meaningless. Here are just a few reasons why. They say the heart is not in it. More than attention or temporary gratification, all humans do want the same thing. And no, it's not cheap bedroom fun. It feels wanted. And there's nothing that will leave you feeling less wanted than a situation where a person doesn't stick around. Okay, yeah, that's fine to say. But the problem is everybody does it. We are in the I just want attention. I am in the instant gratification era of life. We're in the fast food of dating. We're in fast food of instant gratification, fast food of jobs, fast food of everything. This is where people say, you know what? I want this and I want it now. I want attention and I want it now. I want to feel good and I want to feel it now. I want someone new because the person I'm with is boring me a little bit and I want it now. So the movies are all about this as well. I've done article after article on Hollywood stars and everybody being out there saying, oh, girl, you just go out there and get it. So I think they're wrong on this one. They say humans want to feel wanted, not used and discarded. I've got a story that I'm doing later on in this segment, and it's this story right here. Model sleeps with 50 men after accidentally attending swingers party on first date. Right. Okay, so I guess she has an intimate, up-close relationship with all 50 of these people that she partied with? No. But they say no matter how many times we'd like to say we're just doing it for fun, we can't avoid the emotions designed into us. Several studies have found that men and women alike experience emotional damage and regret following hookups. One study states that 72% of college students surveyed regret at least one previous bedroom experience. With our hearts on the line and plenty of emotional evidence to back up the facts, Gen Z is finding it easier than ever to put commitment first. No, that's just wrong. And again, I'll read more into that in a moment. Commitment is the new aesthetic. There aren't many, if any, romance films that romanticize hookups. Yeah, there are. There are plenty of them. Friends with Benefits. They've had several movies that were just named Friends with Benefits. And it was a hookup. And yes, in the end, one of them fell in love with the other. And I think this is what a lot of people are hoping for. Like guys will hook up with a girl and the guy either starts getting emotions, or a woman hooks up with a guy that's several rungs higher than her on the market value. And she's hoping that he will commit to her, but he doesn't. And so, yeah, there's plenty of them that romanticize the hookup and then the eventual falling in love. Look at the old movie, what was it? Where it was the movie where, oh my God, I cannot. I forget the name of the damn thing. She was a professional. Richard Gere was like a doctor or something like that, and he hires her for a week or 2 weeks or something like that, and they end up falling in love, and he falls in love with a professional. I don't remember the name of the movie. It wasn't Sleepless in Seattle. I forget which one it was. But anyway, they've romanticized all about the hookup and some guy hooking up with a professional, and then he magically falls in love and she somehow ends up with this rich guy. No, it doesn't happen like that. They do this all the time in the movies, and it never works out like that. The woman goes for the guy, and he's just using her, and he ends up dumping her. Or the guy goes for the girl, and she ends up just using him, or she ends up taking him for money or something else, and she goes off with some popular football player or good-looking guy, and the other guy's left in the dust. That's all it is. We see it time and time again. This doesn't work out, but women are hooking up at higher rates than ever before. How they think, how Evie magazine thinks this is somehow changing with Gen Z, I have no idea. They say, and there's definitely not one that shows purely uncommitted sex. It always becomes something more. Right, the fantasy in the movies. Why? Because there's no heart in it, no happy ending. There's nothing to share on Instagram and nothing to make other people look over and go, oh, look at those two. That's what I want. Shallow reasoning though it may be, we can't help but want to show off things that make us happy. And in the file under hookups, aesthetically pleasing simply isn't found. They say a new stigma arises. While hookup culture became increasingly popular among the feminists and sexual rights activists of the 70s and 90s, the patriarchal blame hasn't quite disappeared. With sites like OnlyFans offering a financial outlet for women willing to share what they'd like with subscribers, it seems like sexual empowerment is right on the verge of success. But unfortunately, the demand for sexualizing women hasn't disappeared. It's only been redirected. What? Of course it's not disappearing. Women are using it to make money. Women are using it to chase after the guy that they'll never end up catching and just sleep with him, hoping they'll catch him. And they use it to downgrade every other average American guy out there. I don't see how they're using this as a win somehow. It's impossible not to question the who behind this new sexual revolution, but with the likes of Tom Stokely, OnlyFans CEO, being deemed the king of homemade spicy movies, it seems like men and their desires are still the driving force behind women's sexuality and empowerment. Hookup culture is no different. While women have been raised to think they can now do what men can do, men's desires have only become easier to satisfy, as more women are likely to fall prey to the myths hookup culture promotes. A few of today's feminists are seeing through this faulty loophole and aren't falling for it. The truth is out there. One driving force in being discouraged from hookup culture and the negative effects it produces has been more accessible education or uncommitted sex. From Instagram slides to a massive number of articles for reading, there's no shortage of information out there, and Gen Z is using it. Television and film aren't the only influencing elements for Gen Z. Plenty of us are looking in the right places for life advice. And now more than ever, the information is out there ready for us. Curiosity might kill the cat, but it also curbs interest in uncommitted sex. With more research about the negative physical and mental health effects of hooking up, Gen Z has been equipped with the facts when it comes to one-night stands. Okay, so they've been equipped with the facts. But what happens? The 80-20 rule, which is now the 90-10 or the 95-5 rule, is still in full-on effect. Women have been convinced and women have been tricked into feeling that if they sleep with the really attractive, good-looking guy, that somehow this is going to correlate with them getting him, with him falling for them, with him being interested in them, not realizing that the guy's just using them for some physical satisfaction. And then the guy bounces, and then the woman says, oh, that one got away from me. But you know something? He was with me. Maybe I can get another guy just like him. And she jumps from high guy, like high social value guy to high social value guy, giving herself away to all of them and never having success with any of them because those guys will keep bailing. And what ends up happening is the girls finally hit the wall, or they're 30-somethings, and they say, okay, this isn't working out for me. I've been chasing Chad for 10 or 15 years, and I'm single, and it's not working out for me. But I only did it because I wanted them as a boyfriend. And so the popular guys and the guys that are putting game out there, and maybe this is some of the guys that are learning game and learning how to spit facts. Maybe it is them. That's great. If you want to just sleep around and have casual fun, then it's great for you. But anybody looking for a serious relationship, the women are out, the average guy is out, because he doesn't have the same, social value, and then I use quotations on that, as these popular guys do. So they're getting laid plenty, but they're not getting any good girlfriends. And the girls are getting plenty, but they're not getting any good guy friends. The dating market is all screwed up. They said, but Mom, everyone's doing it. Though the kids of Euphoria, Sex Education, and 13 Reasons Why make it out that everyone is doing the deed, the kids of real life know this isn't the case. The FOMO, fear of missing out, we're feeling is for those going strong, the 10-month anniversaries and dinner with his parents. Those couples who are killing it, that's what Gen Z wants. Commitment is the new cool. We might be the generation of instant gratification, but we're also the generation that won't settle for things that don't make us happy. Wrong. Women are constantly settling for men that don't want them. The men don't want them. The women know it, but the women think they can convince the men to want them. And the men that do want the women, they're not getting any women. This is common. They say with the likes of Sophie Turner and Joe Jonas, Haley and Justin Bieber, Avani, Greg, and Anthony Reeves, young celebrities have made youthful commitment all the rage.
Oh, wait, you serious?
No, they're not. Just because after they've had their fun and they say, oh, now I'm settling down and commitment is all serious, people are not listening to that. You've got what? They pull out 6 against literally all of Hollywood and all of television? You got to be kidding me. They say, though jumping on board for a more traditional standard of young marriage might not be yet be conventional, it's definitely becoming a trend to dive in for the long haul. Millennials mark made. If Gen Z hasn't learned from our own mistakes, we've most certainly learned from the mistakes of those before us. The kids of the 90s and early 2000s were the first targets of hookup culture being normalized. Sure, out of wedlock and uncommitted sex were around before millennials' time, but at that point it was still a taboo subject. Millennials were the first to have uncommitted sex not only normalized, but encouraged. With this culture taking root, all of its lessons followed suit. Millennials' experiences soon became tales passed on to their kids and the generation that followed them. What was considered cool in their youth quickly became life lessons that we've all heard a time or two. Gen Z has been given the privilege of learning from the experiences lived by those before us. The examples are there, but no one's listening to them. And I've got an article I'm going to read after this that pretty much proves that. They say hookup culture is old news. It's a bright rebellion that's burnt out, replaced by a generation that seeks love and acceptance in all places, including the bedroom. Hey, quiet. My dog's apparently having an issue. We're a new generation, one that's all grown up hearing about how our discussions will impact our futures. Through the media, though the media wants to paint us a black and white picture of what our sex lives should look like, we know better. We're the generation with instant education, remember? Okay, so then how about this? Hookup culture on college campuses. And this is from just a year and a half ago, so it's still Gen Z. They say hookup culture has become more ingrained in popular culture, according to the American Psychological Association. And this is what I'm saying is I think it's great that Evie is trying to paint a picture of roses out there for kids saying, hey, you don't have to get into this hookup culture. Committing is all the new rage. But it's kind of not really. All you have to do again is look at the videos I've done. Look at the celebrities coming out and saying, "Oh, I'm bi or I'm poly or I have 3 boyfriends," or go out and sleep around as much as you want while you're young ladies. Go get it. Hollywood's pushing this. The movies are pushing this. TV is pushing this. And so Gen Z is not getting this information. They say hookup culture has become normalized. Has become a normalized term to describe casual sexual relationships. Millennials and Gen Zers are having more meaningless casual relationships than our predecessors. But hooking up isn't new, and with the rising usage of dating websites and apps, it's easier than ever. Factors like dating apps, easier access to birth control, surplus outlets to purchase prophylactics, and readily available emergency contraceptives make casual sex almost too easy. Exactly. And with more men out there saying, look, why would I get into a committed relationship? The odds of her cheating are way up. The odds of her leaving for some other dude that maybe is a step up on the social ladder is way up there. A good-looking guy might wink at her at the gym, and she thinks she can do one better, so she ends up sleeping with that guy, hoping to bag him as a boyfriend, leaves me in the dust or cheats on me or whatever. And then in the meantime, she doesn't get him, and then she comes crawling back to me after she's gone out and done this. It's out there. It's out there. Just look at the dating apps where you have unattractive and relatively rude women. And when I say unattractive, I'm not just talking necessarily looks. I'm talking about they're unattractive people. Look at some of the dating profiles I do. They're awful women. They're mean. They're condescending. They have a grocery list of things that you need to be. But and what do they offer? Nothing. I don't cook. All I'm going to do is I'm empowered and I'm a strong woman. Like, that is not much for men, but they put those profiles out there and they get hundreds or thousands of hits. They don't have to try anymore. So of course they're going to hook up and get out there. That's like they're saying. It's almost too easy. A woman can just sit there and men are falling out of the trees at her feet. Because guys, the average guy is not getting nearly as much action as the average girl is, and it's a buyer's choice out there, and that's one of the great things. It's a bad thing for guys and a blessing for guys, because if you're really kind of an average dude and you don't put yourself out there, you're not going to have much luck. Let's be honest about it. However, if you hit the gym, if you're funny, if you're outgoing, if you're brave, if you just go out and put yourself out there, you can get more than your average share of women, because now the hookup game is easy. It really, the only people this hurts are kind of your average guys that are not stepping up or stepping out, or the people that want long-term relationships, because the women aren't getting them, the men aren't getting them. No one's getting those because everybody's afraid someone's going to cheat on them or dump them or something else. They say, despite this, it seems as if young people are having sex less. In 1991, 54% of high school students were active. In 2017, that number dropped to 40%, according to the Centers of Disease Control and Prevention's Youth Risk Behavior Survey. Yeah, it's dropped 14% because the women are selecting a narrower subset of men, and those men are getting more choices. And again, if you're bitter about that, guys, it is really easy to hit the gym and improve yourself, and you will be able to move up into that category of men. The thing is, you have to ask yourself, is that really worth it to me? Because look at the quality of women you're getting if you do that. Yeah, you'll hook up, but again, what's the type of quality of woman you're getting? And you do have to worry about STDs or STIs, and of course, getting someone pregnant beforehand, which I've got another article I'm going to do later on about that. They say hooking up is common among college students, and it's ingrained in collegiate culture where there are often clear-cut expectations about what college life will bring. Hookup culture doesn't have a cut-and-dry definition. Rather, it means different things for different students. It's a little fuzzy now in college, says Pablo Lemus, a third-year chemical engineering student at UC. I would think it means sex in college. In high school, it means making out. It's usually a weekend, and it means they're drunk. It's one-night stands with people who don't care about who you are at all, says Allie Cole, a first-year dance student at Florida State University. One night, and they'll never talk to you again. Guys here, all they want to do is hook up. They don't have the notion of talking to you, getting to know you, taking you on a date, anything like that. It's definitely more prominent with guys, but girls do it too. For some, it's all about having a person who functions as your booty call, meaning the relationship doesn't exist outside of the bedroom. Here's the thing with this. Why are guys not looking for relationships? Why are guys only looking for hookups? Because that's what the women are putting out there. If the woman makes herself available to a guy for the bedroom without requiring a relationship, a guy will say, okay, I don't have to buy her flowers. I don't have to take her out to dinner. I don't have to hang out with her. She just lets me hit it and quit it. I'm in, because that's really what young men want more than anything else. And if women allow men to do this, that's what men will do, and they will learn. And then for the women that do want relationships, they're not going to get them because the guys are just hitting it and quitting it. And the women could have a relationship with the guys that aren't getting any action, but they don't ask those guys out and they don't go out with those guys because those guys are average, just like the woman is average. But she thinks she deserves better based on social media and Instagram and all the attention she gets every time she posts herself in a bikini. Now, a first-year dance student, I'm guessing she's probably in pretty good shape. She probably gets a lot of attention from guys that want to hook up with her. But is she going out with the guys that want girlfriends? No, because the guys that are good looking and popular and have some game, they're going out and they're slaying it with lots of different women. And again, the average guy's kind of like, I'd take you as a girlfriend. And she's like, nah, you're not good enough for me. They say for some, it's about having a person. I already read that. I think hookup culture is expected, says Jasmine J., a fourth-year psychology student at UC. It's getting on an app and then meeting up pretty abruptly. You don't even hang out. You just have a drink and then immediately get to business. The worst experience is when they expect it right away. Well, how do you know that? How do you know it's about getting on an app and then getting to it and having a drink and hooking up? Probably because she's done it. So if she's done it, how are you going to say, well, that's the worst experience? Then don't do it. Don't do it. But again, they're kind of like, well, this is the only way to date nowadays. As long as women give it up easy, guys will take it easy. Period. And the guys and the men that want the long-term relationships can't get them because no girl will say yes to them. And the girls that want long-term relationships are chasing after the chads like everybody else, and they're never going to tie them down. Everybody loses when it comes to long-term relationships now. They say, in What's So Cultural About Hookup Culture, Lisa Wade, a sociology professor at Occidental College, said, when students arrive on campus, they don't just encounter the opportunity to hook up, they're also immersed in a culture that endorses and facilitates hookups. Ceding to or resisting that culture then becomes part of their everyday lives. It's undeniable that hooking up is a huge part of the culture on campus. 72% of men and women surveyed reported participating in at least one hookup by their senior year of college, according to the article, Is Hooking Up Bad for Young Women? By senior year, now listen to these numbers, guys. Listen to these numbers and understand that when guys want a serious long-term relationship and they hear numbers like this, guys are like, no, I do not want to date a woman with numbers like this. Listen to this. By senior year, roughly 40% of those who ever hooked up had engaged in 3 or fewer hookups. Okay, so that's 3 hookups in college. That's 40%. 40% between 4 and 9 hookups. Can you imagine walking away from college with a body count of between 4 and 9 hookups? Now, a lot of you say, dude, that's low nowadays. Grandpa Joker, old man Joker, that's low. Okay, but if you're going to starting college at 18 and she's coming out at 22 and she's got a body count of between 4 and 9 people, that's a lot of people in 4 years. And this is on average. And listen to this, they say only 20%. Only 20% is not a small number. 20% have had 10 or more hookups in college. The article reads, about 80% of students hook up on average less than once per semester over the course of college. Okay, there's how many semesters in a college year? Like, 2 semesters, 3 semesters per year in college? So 1 hookup per semester, that's a lot of hookups. That's at least, 9 to 12 hookups over the course of college. They say many of the students interviewed for this story described moments where they found themselves in the arms of a stranger after a night of drinking or partying, particularly younger college students who are still learning how to manage and embrace sexuality. And alcohol, I would say. And what happens, fellas, if you're that guy and she does this and she says, oh, you know something? I regret this. She can say, you provided the alcohol or you took advantage of her and now you're in trouble. And with Title IX, you can be put up in front of the administration of the college and boom, you're out of college. Or worse, you have some police officers knocking at your door doing a criminal investigation. It's not worth it. And now regret means you did something wrong. That's something to be very, very very worried about. They continue on. The potential problems with hookup culture might remind you of a high school sex education class. It's the potential for STIs, unplanned pregnancy, the snuggle struggle, and catching feelings. But despite fairly easy access to contraceptives, many students don't seem concerned about it. Yeah, so what does that mean? That means that you may get yourself in a fatherly way. She may say everything's fine, but it's not fine. And then you're in trouble. She says, she continues on, personally, I experienced hookup culture and it made me feel pathetic and ashamed while other women I know feel liberated by it, said Natalia Cesar, a third-year Peace, Conflict, and Justice Studies student at DePaul University. Wow, she's going to make a lot of money with that degree. I would say there's a lot more predators out there than people who would like to spend genuine quality time with you as a woman. What's that mean right there? I would say there's a lot more predators out there. So what happens if you go on a date with her? What happens if you have a good time with her and she regrets it? You're now a predator. You're now the bad guy. You're now going up in front of the school board or somebody else. They say, of course, gender plays a substantial role in hooking up, too. Men often find they have more leniency when it comes to casual fun. Sizer said, it's entirely viewed on gender and sex. It's very much rooted in patriarchal society. Hookup culture has been around for a while. On the other side of the coin, when women are at play, it's a different story. Wade said hookup culture offers a toolkit for embracing casual sex, but it does not offer much explanation for navigating other kinds of sexual engagement, including abstinence. For students who feel ambivalent, she says, many may decide to give up hooking up a try. Let me say something here. For the women out there that says it's patriarchal and men drive the hookup culture, no, they don't. That is a lie. The ones that perpetuate and drive hookup culture are the women. How do I know? Let's put it this way. If every woman out there said, I'm not going to hook up with a dude casually anymore, and a woman goes on a date and she says, I only sleep with boyfriends, committed men that are going to be my long-term partner and going to be in a relationship with me, that's all I sleep with. And we're going to go on dates, and I'm going to get to know you, and I want to make sure you're a good guy, and that you're going to be here for me, and you're going to be my partner, that you're going to be my boyfriend. Then I will sleep with you. And if that guy's like, nah, screw that, too much work, and he bounces, what happens when he goes on 5, 10, 20, 30 dates, and every woman doesn't give it up? What's he say? I guess if I want to sleep with somebody, I'm going to have to be a boyfriend. I'm going to have to be a romantic partner. I'm going to have to put some effort into this. Or he's going to lie and be a skeezer. But you do that once or twice, you're going to get yourself a bad reputation, and then you're never going to get a date again. How do I know? Because history. So if all women stopped putting out and just made guys commit to them, women would be deciding the bedroom takes commitment. And guys would have to step up. Either men would say it's not worth the effort and I don't care about getting laid that badly where I want to date someone seriously, or they'd step up and they'd do it. But because women are giving it away virtually for free, guys are there to take it for free. If the woman's given this, quote, precious gift to guys and she's giving it away for free, guys are going to take it for free. And then you're going to blame it on the men for taking it. No. You got to blame it on who's given the gift. See, women control the bedroom, men control the relationships. If women turned off the bedroom completely until they got the relationship, guess what? They'd get their relationship, but women aren't doing it. So for this student to say, oh, patriarchal, no, that's BS. That is BS. It is the women that are making this go so crazy right now. They continue on. The average age of marriage for women in 2017 was 27. For men, it was 29. In 1991, women were getting married out of college at age 23, men at 26. Since people are getting married later, finding a lifelong partner in college is not necessarily a priority for most. One woman says, wait, is it a woman or a man? Lemus? I don't know. I want to have as much fun as possible before I settle down, Lemus said. Regardless, experiences and perceptions of hookup culture are fluid and adaptable. Some want sex and hope it'll turn into something more. Right, those are the women giving it up to the hot guys. Some hope they'll never see the other person again. Those are the hot guys that are sleeping down with other women. Some were taken advantage of, and it forever impacts their ability to casually hook up. Some look for a sexual epiphany that isn't destined to come. One thing is clear, hookup culture has evolved over the years. The ways that college students are having sex, finding partners, and hooking up is drastically different from generations that came before us. For better or for worse, students are freer than ever to explore their sexuality on college campuses. Whether it has meaning, whether it's casual or frequent, or even if it happens only once, the choice is always ours. It is. And you're making the choice. And what happens is, again, I'm just going to sum it all up. The popular guys come out of college and they realize, I don't have to settle down with anybody. I can just sleep with a lot of women. Good looking, average looking, decent looking, not so good looking. I can have it all because all the women want me because I'm a top 10 or 20%er. So those guys never settle down. They're playboys for life at this point. I would be. I was when I was younger. I used to go out on dates all the time. I never settled down. And then I settled down and I realized it's horrible. I'm not going to do that again. Then you've got these women that are always dating up. They're always chasing chads. They're sleeping with these guys. They're dating these guys, but the guys won't date them long term. And so they come out with high body counts and their sights set on Mr. Wonderful that they're never going to get. And so they're alpha widows the rest of their lives. They're never going to get that guy. And the average guy comes out of college saying, I see those girls hooking up with those guys and those guys hooking up with those girls, and only the women come to me after they're not being chased anymore, or after they've gained weight, or after they've had kids, or after they're 35, and then they say, I want an average guy now because I can't get these guys anymore. And those guys are looking at it saying, look, you got a high body count, you gave all your fun away to everybody else, and now you want to come to me when it's time to settle down and get serious. Not interested. And until all of this changes, the best bet for anyone that wants a long-term relationship is to get in one young, get in one before you have a high body count and a lot of damage, or don't. Just don't get in one. Or be very careful on your choices, or else you're going to get someone that's not so good.